Harper Lane had never felt more invisible than she did at 2 in the morning, stepping out of the steam-filled spa room on the 57th floor of the Aurelius Tower. She thought she was completely alone. The building was silent, the kind of deep Manhattan silence that only existed above the skyline, where the city lights glittered far below like 1,000 tiny promises she could never afford to touch. She wrapped the towel tighter around her body, skin still damp from the sauna, and took a hesitant step into the private corridor reserved for penthouse owners, an area she wasn't supposed to be anywhere near. But tonight had already been a disaster. A 12-hour shift, a patient coding, a supervisor blaming her for something she didn't do. Her head throbbed. Her heart ached. She needed 10 minutes to breathe, and the spa door had been left open. A mistake she thought she could slip into and out of without consequence. Then the lock behind her clicked. She froze. The towel slipped. A soft thud hit the carpet as the only barrier she had dropped to the floor and pooled around her ankles. God, no. No. Harper scrambled to grab it, but before her fingers touched the fabric, she saw movement at the far end of the corridor. A shadow. Tall. Still. Watching. Her breath lodged in her throat like a stone. The lights hummed overhead, low and golden, reflecting against marble walls that suddenly felt far too bright. She couldn't breathe, couldn't blink, couldn't run. Then he stepped forward. Vincent Hale. The man who owned the entire floor. The man whose name people whispered in the city like a warning. The man rumored to have buried corporations and criminals with the same silent precision. And he was staring directly at her. Not with lust, not with shock, but with something far more dangerous recognition. Like he had been waiting for someone to walk into his world uncovered, stripped of every defense, unable to lie. Heat flushed up Harper's neck. I didn't know anyone was here, she stammered, arms crossing her chest in a frantic, useless shield. Vincent didn't speak. He didn't move closer. But the air around him shifted, tightening like a wire pulled too far. His gaze flicked to the fallen towel, then back to her, assessing, calculating, yet strangely gentle. You're not supposed to be on this floor, he finally said, his voice low, dark, almost soft. I know. I'm sorry. I'll go. I'll leave right now. But then something unexpected happened. The lights above them flickered. A quiet, almost imperceptible click echoed through the corridor ceiling. Vincent's eyes sharpened instantly. He looked upward as if he could see through metal and plaster. Someone was watching. And Harper realized too late that this wasn't an accident, not a coincidence, not harmless, a trap. One she had just walked straight into, naked and defenseless, and Vincent Hale was the only witness. Harper Lane had spent most of her life trying not to be seen, which was almost ironic for someone who spent every day taking care of people. She blended into hospital hallways the way shadows blended into dusk, quiet, necessary, unnoticed. At 27, she worked double shifts at Riverside Rehabilitation Center, patching up patients while her own life kept bleeding at the edges. She rented a tiny studio in Harlem until last month, when the building was sold and tenants were pushed out overnight. With nowhere to go, she took the only offer she had, subletting a small unit in the Aurelius Tower from a co-worker who claimed it was temporary and cheap. Harper didn't ask why the price was suspiciously low. She just grabbed the keys and prayed this time life might give her a break. It didn't. Her mother's medical bills kept stacking, and Harper's paycheck vanished as fast as it came. On good days, she ate. On bad days, she told herself hunger built character. Her supervisor didn't like her. Patients complained to her about things she couldn't fix, and every time she opened her locker, she wondered whether she'd still have a job tomorrow. But Harper kept going, fueled by the fragile belief that kindness mattered, that if she just survived long enough, something good might finally happen. Tonight, that belief felt thin. Everything had gone wrong at work again. A patient had fallen, and the supervisor blamed Harper without evidence. A write-up was already waiting for her by the time she clocked out. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She always refused. So when she found the spa room door cracked open and the lights low, she let herself slip inside for 10 stolen minutes of warmth. For the first time in weeks, she felt her muscles loosen, her mind drift. She didn't think, didn't worry, didn't imagine consequences. She didn't know the corridor outside belonged to the penthouse floor. She didn't know the towel would slip. She didn't know the most dangerous man in Manhattan would be the one standing there. And she especially didn't know she had just stepped into the center of a war she didn't understand. Harper Lane wasn't born to be seen, but tonight the world and Vincent Hale saw everything. Vincent Hale was a man people survived by not looking at. In Manhattan's underworld, his name traveled faster than money, sharper than rumor, heavier than truth. Those who had met him in person never forgot the way a room shifted when he entered, how conversations thinned, how posture straightened, how even the wealthy suddenly remembered their manners. Tonight, however, Vincent wasn't thinking about power. He was thinking about betrayal. The private elevator had carried him from a meeting that left a sting in his jaw and a bruise on his ribs, minor warnings from men too stupid to realize who they were threatening. He'd ended the discussion with the same cold efficiency he applied to every business deal. No shouting, no mess, just a reminder that crossing him was a one-time mistake. Yet something gnawed at him. Someone in his organization was leaking information. Someone close. He loosened the collar of his black shirt as he stepped into the penthouse corridor. His shoulders ached, his knuckles throbbed, and all he wanted was a shower hot enough to burn the night off his skin. He rolled his sleeves up as he walked, jaw tight, mind calculating possibilities, names, motives, weaknesses. Then he heard it. A soft gasp. A towel hitting the floor, bare feet against the carpet. He looked up and everything in him went still. A woman stood in the middle of his private corridor, naked, stunned, terrified. Not seductive, not staged, not expecting anyone. The kind of raw vulnerability he had never seen so openly, not even in the darkest corners of his world. Her eyes were wide, cheeks flushed, hair damp from steam. She looked like she'd stepped out of another life and into his, without warning. Vincent had seen beauty before. He had never seen innocence. His instinct was immediate, protect her. His second instinct, question everything. No one wandered onto this floor. No one accessed this hallway without clearance. And no one, absolutely no one, ended up here without a reason. Yet she didn't look like bait. She looked like someone whose life had just collided with his at full speed, unaware of the danger, unaware of him, unaware that her presence alone was enough to shift the balance of the night. He stepped forward once, her breath caught, and for the first time in years, Vincent Hale's world hesitated because something told him this woman wasn't a coincidence. She was a beginning. Vincent wasn't a man who startled, but something about the faint metallic click above them pulled his attention like a blade pressed to the spine. It was subtle, almost dismissible, the kind of sound most people would confuse with the hum of luxury ventilation. But not Vincent. He'd built his life on noticing the details others ignored. His gaze drifted upward. Harper followed his eyes, her pulse thundering in her ears. What is it?" she whispered, clutching the towel to her chest like a lifeline. "Quiet," Vincent murmured. His voice wasn't harsh, just firm enough to anchor her trembling. He took one slow step forward, positioning himself between her and the ceiling, as if shielding her from something she couldn't see. His shoulders squared, posture shifting from surprise to calculated readiness. Harper realized something then. This wasn't just an awkward accident. Something was wrong. Vincent's hand slid into his pocket. A small device, black, discreet, gleamed between his fingers. He tapped it, eyes narrowing as the screen lit up. Harper didn't understand what she was seeing, just faint red dots scattered across a digital blueprint. "You're being watched," he said quietly. Her heart stopped. "No, that's impossible." "This is a residential floor," she whispered. "There shouldn't be cameras." "There aren't," Vincent said. "At least not legally." The words hit her like a bucket of ice water. She stepped back, shaking. "I swear, I didn't know this was your floor. I didn't come here on purpose." Shame thickened her voice. "I didn't come here for attention." Vincent finally looked at her again, deeply, steadily. "I know," he said. 3 simple words, but they cut through her panic like a warm blade, because he meant them. He turned back to the ceiling panel. With a swift motion, he reached up, pressed his palm against the corner, and a tiny lens clicked into view, barely the size of a dime. Hidden, illicit, positioned perfectly at the angle that captured Harper's entire body just moments ago. Her breath left her in a broken exhale. Someone had planned this. Someone wanted footage. Someone wanted her exposed and him compromised. Vincent lowered his hand slowly, jaw tightening. His voice dropped to something colder, darker, more dangerous than she'd ever heard. "This isn't about you wandering onto the wrong floor," he said. "This is a setup." Harper swallowed hard, gripping the towel until her knuckles whitened. "But why me?" Vincent's eyes softened with something almost like regret. "Because you walked into the wrong life tonight." Harper didn't breathe until Vincent stepped aside, giving her room to rush toward the elevator at the end of the corridor. She didn't look back. She couldn't. If she did, she feared the panic tightening inside her chest would erupt into a sob violent enough to bring the whole hallway down with it. Her fingers trembled as she jabbed the elevator button. Once, twice, again. Nothing happened. She pressed harder, as if force alone could rescue her from the humiliation clawing at her lungs. Her skin still burned from being exposed, her mind replaying the horror in flashes, her naked silhouette, the fallen towel, Vincent's eyes catching hers. The hidden camera pointed straight at her. She wanted to disappear. "Come on," she whispered through clenched teeth. "Please, please." The elevator lights flickered, and she flinched so hard the towel almost slipped again. She caught it at the last second. Her heart thrashed painfully. Behind her, Vincent spoke. "You're not in trouble." She didn't turn, couldn't. If she saw his face again, dignified and unreadable, she might shatter completely. "I shouldn't be here," she said, her voice thin, shaky. "I broke rules, I trespassed, and now, God, that camera, someone has video of me, of everything." Fear thickened her throat, wrapping around every word. "I'll lose my job. My supervisor already hates me. They'll think I was doing something inappropriate." Her voice cracked. Shame burned down her spine. "And my mom, if she sees something online." Harper pressed the back of her hand to her mouth as her breath hitched. "She's sick. She can't handle that kind of stress." The elevator finally dinged. She stumbled inside, relief flooding her so fast her knees went weak. But as the doors began to close, a hand caught the edge steady, controlled, unmistakably his. Vincent didn't step in. He simply held the door open with 2 fingers, eyes locked on hers. "No one is releasing that footage," he said. His tone wasn't comforting. It was absolute. "And if they try, they won't get far." Harper shook her head. "You don't understand. People like me don't survive things like this. And people like me don't let setups go unanswered." The doors finally closed between them, but his words followed her down like a vow she didn't ask for and wasn't sure she could trust. Because Vincent Hale wasn't just dangerous. He was the only witness to the worst moment of her life. And that made her feel even more exposed. Vincent Hale didn't move for several seconds after the elevator doors closed. He stood alone in the silent corridor, jaw locked, chest rising and falling with a sharpness he rarely allowed anyone to witness. He'd lived through ambushes, betrayals, gunfire, and the death of a fiancé who lied with her last breath. But none of those moments rattled him the way the look in Harper's eyes just had. Fear, shame, defeat, The kind of defeat he recognized too well, the kind that came from a world built to crush people like her. He exhaled slowly, nostrils flaring. Someone had placed a camera on his floor. Someone had recorded Hera Stranger, who didn't belong to this world, at her most vulnerable, and someone intended to use that footage to get to him. That alone made them dangerously stupid. He pulled out his phone and dialed one of his men. "I want every maintenance panel on the penthouse level opened within the hour. No cameras, no microphones, no excuses. And pull the building's access log for the last 72 hours. "Yes, sir." "And find out," Vincent continued, voice dropping to something lethal, "who had the authority to rent out a unit on this floor without running it through my office." There was a pause. "Sir, that unit wasn't supposed to be occupied. Management has no record of a new tenant." Vincent's eyes darkened. Then someone bypassed protocol. He ended the call, tension burning in his shoulders as he massaged the bridge of his nose. He should have focused solely on the breach, on the threat, the betrayal, the strategy. But his mind kept circling back to Harper, trembling, clutching a towel like it was the only thing keeping her standing. He didn't know her. He wasn't supposed to care. But the thought of someone using her to get to him sparked something fierce inside him, an anger he hadn't felt in years. The elevator chimed. One of his security staff stepped out, holding a small device wrapped in a cloth. "We found this in the ceiling vent, sir." Vincent unwrapped it. A second hidden camera. Angle perfect. Audio enabled. Planted with intent. Vincent's voice was almost calm when he spoke. "Sweep the whole floor. When you find the person responsible," he paused, expression turning to ice, "bring them to me." Because if someone thought Harper Lane was an easy pawn, they were about to learn what it cost to touch something in Vincent Hale's world. Harper didn't stop shaking until she reached her apartment door. Her hands fumbled with the key, breath catching every few seconds like her lungs had forgotten how to function. The towel was gone. She'd thrown it away the second she stepped off the elevator, but the humiliation clung to her skin like a bruise. She slipped inside, locked the door, and pressed her back against it, sliding down until she hit the floor. For a moment, the world spun. Everything felt too loud, too bright. Then her phone buzzed. She flinched. The screen lit up with a name she hadn't seen in weeks. Owen Carter, her childhood friend, her almost brother, the one person who always sensed when her life was on the verge of collapsing. She hesitated, then answered. "Owen?" "Harper." His voice was low, urgent, wrong for this hour, wrong for him. "Are you home?" Her stomach tightened. "Yes." "Why?" "Good," he said, but there was no relief in his tone, only tension. "Listen to me carefully. Something's happening in that building. Something off." Her skin prickled. "Owen, what are you talking about?" "I caught a tip earlier tonight," he continued, anonymous but specific. "Someone's running surveillance on high-value residents in your tower. Someone with access to restricted floors." Harper's mouth went dry. The camera on Vincent's floor, the setup, the perfectly timed angle. "Owen." Her voice cracked. "Did they say why?" "No," he answered. "But when I tried to track the origin of the message, it looped through a legal office downtown, a law firm involved in a lot of messy cases." She didn't need him to say the name, Cassandra Locke. She'd heard the rumors at the hospital, prestige, power, untraceable influence. "Harper," Owen continued, "if someone is targeting residents on those floors, you could be caught in something dangerous." Her heart hammered. "Why me? I'm nobody." "That's exactly why," he said. "People like you slip through the cracks. They get used. They get silenced." A tremor moved through her. "Owen, something already happened tonight." Silence. Then his voice sharpened. "Tell me." But as Harper opened her mouth, a soft sound echoed through her apartment hallway, a faint scrape, like a footstep. Her breath hitched. "Owen, someone's outside my door." "Do not open it," he ordered. "I'm getting my car. I'll be there in 10 minutes." A knock interrupted him. Slow, deliberate. Not a neighbor, not a friend. Someone waiting. "Harper," Owen whispered. "Don't make a sound." But it was too late, because the voice on the other side of the door spoke her name. Soft, male, unmistakable. Harper opened the door. Vincent Hale. Harper froze at the sound of Vincent's voice on the other side of her door. Every muscle locked, her breath suspended somewhere between fear and disbelief. Owen was still on the line, whispering fiercely, "Do not open that door, Harper, not until I get there." But Vincent knocked again, calm, steady, intentional. "Harper, I know you're inside. We need to talk." Inside her chest, two instincts collided violently, the part of her that trusted Owen with her life and the part of her that had seen something undeniably protective in Vincent's eyes. Before she could speak, her phone chimed with another notification, then another, then dozens more. Her stomach dropped. No, not now. Hands shaking, she pulled the phone away from her ear and looked at the screen. Twitter, Instagram, news alerts, unknown numbers. Every notification carried the same headline. Nurse exposes herself in luxury tower. Mystery woman caught on camera with Manhattan power broker. Harper's lungs collapsed. Her face blurred but recognizable. Her body silhouetted in the corridor. Vincent standing in front of her. The footage was online, already viral. Her vision blurred. No, this can't someone uploaded it? How Owen's voice broke through the static of her panic. "Harper, listen to me. Do not open that door. I'm 2 minutes away." But another knock came firmer this time. "Harper," Vincent said, tone shifting. Darker now. "I know about the video. Let me in. I can help you." She pressed a trembling palm against the wood, tears gathering in her lashes. "You can't fix this," she whispered. "My job will fire me. My mom, she's going to see this. Everyone's going to think a choked sob escaped before she could smother it." Vincent's voice softened. "Harper, whoever posted that footage didn't do it to embarrass you. They did it to hit me, and I don't let people use innocent bystanders as collateral damage." She squeezed her eyes shut. Innocent. No one had called her that in years. "Please," he said again, quieter now. "Open the door." Owen's voice erupted through the phone. "Harper, don't you dare," but something in Vincent's tone, steady, unshaken, almost protective, pulled at her defenses. Her fingers curled around the lock. One breath, one decision, one moment too heavy to undo. She turned the latch and opened the door. The moment Harper opened the door, Vincent stepped inside, not forcefully, not arrogantly, but with a controlled urgency that filled the small apartment like a storm trying to stay contained. He shut the door behind him just as the phone slipped from Harper's trembling hand and clattered to the floor. Owen's voice was still shouting from the speaker, distant and frantic, but she couldn't process anything except the roaring in her ears. Vincent held her gaze. "I saw the video," he said. "It's spreading fast, too fast." Her stomach twisted. How could this happen? How did they even get it? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he studied her, eyes scanning the redness in her cheeks, the panic beneath her skin, the way she folded her arms tightly around herself as if trying to hold her world together. "Someone planned it," he said finally, "and they planned it well." Her knees buckled. She stumbled backward, catching herself against the edge of the counter. Shame flooded her chest until she could hardly breathe. "I'm finished," Harper whispered. "The hospital will fire me. Patients will see it. My coworkers. God, my supervisor is going to destroy me." Vincent stepped closer. "Harper." "No," she cut in, voice breaking. "You don't understand. I worked years to get here. I fought for this job. And now one video, one stupid, humiliating video will ruin everything." Her phone chimed again, then nonstop. She forced herself to pick it up. A text from her supervisor. "We need to meet first thing in the morning. This is unacceptable." Another from a coworker. "Harper, is that really you?" A third from an unknown number, sharper, crueler. "Nice show. Hope you got paid." Her vision blurred. Tears spilled hot down her cheeks. Vincent's jaw tightened. "Give me the phone." "No." She clutched it harder. "It's my problem. My fault. I should have never been on that floor." "You weren't at fault," he said firmly. "They targeted you because you were vulnerable, because you weren't supposed to fight back." She looked up at him through tears. "So what? I'm supposed to let you fix it? Let you handle my life?" "No," Vincent said softly. "I'm saying you don't have to face this alone." Before she could respond, headlights flashed across the window Owen's car, screeching into the lot, and Harper realized something terrifying. Her two worlds were about to collide. Owen's car hadn't even come to a full stop before Harper felt the tension snap inside her apartment like an overstretched wire. Vincent stood only a few feet away still, composed, but radiating the kind of controlled danger that made the air feel heavier. Outside, Owen slammed his car door, footsteps pounding up the hallway. Harper wiped her face with her sleeve. "I need to talk to him alone." Vincent didn't move. "No, if information is leaking, I need to know who he's talking to." "He's my friend," she insisted. "And that makes him a prime target," Vincent replied calmly. "People manipulate the people closest to you first." Before she could argue, the knock came hard, urgent. "Harper, open the door." Owen's voice trembled with a mix of fear and anger. "I saw the video. I'm coming in whether you open or not." Harper hurried to unlock the door before he broke it down. The moment it swung open, Owen stepped inside and froze, his eyes locked onto Vincent. Vincent didn't shift, didn't greet, didn't posture. He simply watched Owen with a measured stillness that made Owen instantly defensive. "What the hell are you doing here?" Owen snapped. "You think she wants you in her apartment after you let someone record I didn't let anything happen," Vincent said coolly. "Someone is framing her, and they intended to use her to destroy me." Owen stepped in front of Harper like a shield. "You expect me to believe that? A hidden camera magically appears on your private floor the same night she wanders up there?" Harper cut in, voice strained. "Owen, please, this isn't helping." But Owen's jaw clenched. "He's dangerous, Harper. You don't know who you're dealing with." Vincent finally moved one step forward, slow but deliberate, not aggressive, not threatening, just enough to reclaim the room. "I know exactly who I am," Vincent said. "What you don't know is who targeted her, and if you keep wasting time, they'll hit her again." Harper swallowed hard. Vincent found multiple cameras, Owen, not just one. That stopped him. Then Vincent delivered the blow. And someone approved a fake lease for her unit. Someone wanted her living here. Owen's face paled. "What? That's not possible." Harper signed with management. "No," Vincent corrected. "She signed with whoever forged their documents." The implication hit all three of them at once. Someone had placed Harper in this building. On purpose. To be used, to be exposed, to be destroyed. And the worst part? The plan was only just beginning. Harper didn't remember how she ended up on the rooftop of the Aurelius Tower. One moment she was in her apartment, breathing in panic, and the next she was pushing through the rooftop access door, stepping into the cold Manhattan air. The skyline stretched out in every direction, jagged, glittering, indifferent. Far below, the city pulsed with life. Up here, she felt terrifyingly alone. The cold bit her skin immediately, but she barely noticed. Her thoughts spiraled too fast. Someone forged her lease. Someone planted cameras. Someone put her on Vincent's floor. Someone wanted her destroyed. Her chest tightened again, painful and sharp. She gripped the railing as the night spun around her. "I can't do this," she whispered. "I can't survive this." The sound of the rooftop door opening didn't startle her. She already knew who it was. Only one man in the building had a key and a reason to follow her. Vincent stepped out, coat still undone, expression unreadable under the city lights. Moonlight cut sharp lines across his face, making him look both impossibly powerful and strangely human. "You shouldn't be up here alone," he said quietly. She kept her gaze on the skyline. "Owen thinks you're dangerous." "I am," Vincent replied without hesitation. Harper swallowed hard. "And yet you keep showing up." Vincent stepped closer, but not too close, just enough that his presence felt steady instead of overwhelming. "You're in the middle of something much bigger than you realize," he said. "Someone chose you because they thought you wouldn't fight, because they thought you'd break." She laughed weakly, a cracked sound. "Maybe they're right." "No," Vincent said, voice dropping. "They aren't." Harper shook her head, tears blurring the city lights. "I'm a nurse from Harlem with overdue medical bills and a supervisor who hates me. I don't have power. I don't have protection. I barely have a place to sleep. You saw the video, everyone's laughing at me." Vincent's jaw tightened. "I'm not." She finally looked at him, and something in his eyes, a flicker of anger, protectiveness, maybe even guilt, hit her so hard her breath stuttered. "You didn't deserve what happened," Vincent said, "and I'm going to find the person behind it. I swear it." Harper's voice cracked. "Why? Why do you even care?" Vincent hesitated, a rare, vulnerable pause. "Because the moment I saw you in that hallway," he exhaled, "I knew everything in my world was about to change." Harper's lips parted, surprise softening her expression. But before she could speak, the rooftop door slammed open again. Owen. Face pale, eyes wide, phone in his hand. "Harper," he said breathlessly, "it's worse than we thought." Owen's face was pale as he hurried across the rooftop, breath fogging in the cold air. He held his phone out, screen glowing with something he clearly didn't want to say out loud. Harper stepped away from the railing, heart thudding painfully. "What happened?" she asked, voice small. Owen swallowed. "Harper, someone sent this to every major news outlet in Manhattan." He turned the phone toward her. "And to your hospital's board." On the screen was a headline she didn't think could exist in the real world. "Leaked footage reveals mystery woman in intimate encounter with Vincent Hale. Sources claim personal relationship." Her knees nearly gave out. "No," she whispered. "They're lying. They're twisting everything." Vincent took the phone from Owen's hand, eyes narrowing, jaw locking so tightly, Harper heard his teeth grind. "They're escalating faster than expected." Owen glared at him. "You think this is a game? She loses her job over this." "I'm aware," Vincent replied, tone dangerously controlled, "and I will handle it." Harper hugged her arms around herself. "You can't fix this. You don't understand how much I have to lose." Vincent turned toward her, something shifting in his expression, a fracture in the armor he always wore. "Harper, I know exactly what it feels like to lose everything." She blinked, stunned. "What are you talking about?" He hesitated, not out of fear, but because he wasn't used to offering pieces of himself. Then he spoke. "The woman I was supposed to marry," he said quietly, "traded my life for protection. She sold information to my enemies. The night I found out, the deal turned violent. She didn't die protecting me, Harper." His voice tightened. "She died because she chose to betray me." The rooftop fell silent. Harper's breath hitched not from fear, but from something unbearably human in his confession. "I stopped trusting people after that," Vincent continued, "especially the innocent ones, because innocence can be used, twisted, weaponized." His gaze met hers. "The way they're using you now." Harper felt tears burn her eyes again, but this time, not from shame. "You didn't deserve that," she whispered. "Neither do you," Vincent said. For a moment, the city noise below faded, leaving only the three of them suspended in the cold night air. Then Owen's phone buzzed again. He glanced down and his face went completely white. "Harper," he said softly, "they're not just going after your job." He turned the screen. Hospital launches internal investigation. Harper Lane accused of inappropriate conduct with a patient. The world dropped out from under her. Harper staggered back as if the rooftop itself had tilted under her feet. A patient? Her voice cracked, thin and disbelieving. I would never, Owen, you know I would never. I know, Owen said quickly, stepping toward her, hands raised in reassurance. Harper, I know this is a lie, but someone filed a complaint under a fake name and the hospital board is taking it seriously. Her heart pounded so violently she felt dizzy. Why would someone do this? Why accuse me of something so disgusting? Vincent's expression turned to stone. Because destroying your reputation wasn't enough. They want you unemployable, cornered, afraid. Owen nodded grimly. She's being set up. Every move she makes is being twisted. But Vincent's gaze shifted, narrowing slightly at Owen, as though a new calculation had entered his mind. How did you get this information so fast? He asked. Owen stiffened. Because someone at the precinct tipped me off. Convenient, Vincent replied coolly. The tone sliced through the air. Harper looked between them, panic returning. Stop. Not now. Owen's jaw tightened. You think I'm involved in this? Seriously? I think someone is feeding you information, Vincent said, voice low, and I don't trust the source. Owen took a step closer, eyes blazing. Because you don't trust anyone who isn't on your payroll. Vincent didn't flinch. Because someone put Harper in this building to get to me, and whoever did it knew exactly how to push the right buttons. Are you implying I would hurt Harper? Owen snapped. I've known her since we were kids. I've protected her my whole life. Silence, sharp, cuttable. Harper's breath faltered. Please don't fight. I can't handle this right now. But the tension only deepened. Vincent's voice dropped to a blade-edge whisper. Then explain this, Officer Carter. Why is your name tied to the building's security logs 4 nights ago? Owen froze. Color drained from his face. That's impossible, he breathed. I've never accessed this building's system. Vincent stepped forward. Someone used your credentials. Either you're lying or someone wants it to look like you're involved. Harper's heart twisted painfully. She didn't want to doubt Owen. She didn't want to fear Vincent. But the truth was unbearable. Someone was turning the people she trusted most against each other. Owen backed up a step, shaking his head. I don't know how my credentials got in the system, but Harper, I swear I'm not part of this. She opened her mouth to speak, but a notification lit up Vincent's phone. He looked at the screen. His expression darkened. Harper, he said slowly, you need to come with me. Right now. Her blood ran cold. Why? What happened? Vincent turned the screen toward her. A warrant request for her arrest. Harper stared at the screen in Vincent's hand, her pulse thundering so violently she couldn't hear the wind anymore. A warrant request. Her name, her address. Accusations she didn't recognize. Reality fractured like glass splitting under pressure. I didn't do anything, she whispered, voice barely audible. Vincent, I haven't committed a crime. Someone wants it to look like you have, he replied, eyes cold with calculation, and they're accelerating the timeline, faster than expected. Owen moved to Harper's side. Let me handle this. I can call the precinct. No, Vincent cut in sharply. The moment you call, you'll alert whoever filed it. They want her scared, cornered, running. Owen glared at him. We can't just hide her. Vincent took a slow step toward Harper. I'm not hiding her. I'm keeping her alive. Before either of them could argue, Harper's phone buzzed again. Another notification. A message this time from an unknown number. Audio evidence submitted to the DA's office. A cold dread crawled up her spine. She clicked the file. Her voice filled the rooftop speakers on autoplay. I know what Vincent does. I've seen everything. If he doesn't pay me, I'll leak it all. Harper felt her knees buckle. That's not me. I never said that. Vincent, I swear, I never, it's fake, Vincent said instantly, badly stitched and stupid. but his eyes weren't calm, they were burning. Owen shook his head in disbelief. Deepfake audio? That's felony-level framing. He turned to Harper. This is Cassandra. It has to be. Harper's breath caught. Cassandra Locke. The powerful attorney with connections everywhere. The woman whose name kept appearing in half-formed rumors at the hospital. But why me? Harper cried. Why destroy a nurse? Why go after someone with nothing? Vincent answered quietly. Because breaking someone who has nothing is easy, and because you were the perfect angle to paint me as unstable. Owen stepped forward. Harper, you need to come with me. I can take you somewhere safe. Vincent didn't move, but the air hardened around him. She's not leaving with you. Owen squared his shoulders. You think I'm involved? You think I'd ever hurt her? Vincent's voice turned lethal. Your credentials were used. Whether you knew or not, you're compromised. Harper's tears finally spilled. Stop, both of you! Silence fell. Then Vincent spoke, gentle but unyielding. Harper, they will take you into custody if we don't act now. Come with me. I can protect you. Owen whispered, pained. Please trust me, not him. Harper stood between the two men, the safest place she'd ever known, and the most dangerous choice she'd ever face. Harper chose instinct over logic, not Vincent, not Owen. She ran, down the rooftop stairs, past the elevator, through the dim hallway, her breath sharp, her vision swimming. Neither man chased her immediately. Maybe they were arguing again, maybe they were strategizing, maybe they were stunned. She didn't know, didn't care. She just needed space, air, silence. By the time she reached her apartment door, her phone was buzzing nonstop. Texts, emails, unknown callers. The world was already closing in. She collapsed to her knees on the living room floor. The audio recording, the false patient accusation, the warrant request, and now her hospital's final blow. An email flashed on her lock screen. Effective immediately. Suspension pending investigation. Harper's chest caved. She clicked it open with trembling fingers. Given the severity of these allegations and the publicly circulated footage, your presence at the facility poses reputational risk. You are barred from the premises until further notice. Reputational risk, like she was a virus. Her breath came in shuddering waves. Her supervisor had been waiting for an excuse like this. Now she finally had one. Her phone buzzed again, a voicemail from her mother's care facility. Harper pressed play, hands shaking. Harper, honey. Her mother's weak voice whispered. The staff showed me something online. I don't understand what's happening. Please tell me you're okay. Harper folded over, agony ripping through her. No, Mom. You weren't supposed to see that. Everything she had fought for, every sacrifice, every double shift, every dream of finally giving her mother a stable life was slipping through her fingers. She pushed herself up, driven by panic, and stumbled toward the mirror. Her reflection looked like someone else, tear-streaked, broken, staring back at her with shame she didn't deserve. A knock shattered the silence. Not Vincent, not Owen. A deeper, heavier pound, like someone enforcing dominance rather than requesting entry. Harper Lane? A voice called. This is the district attorney's office. Open the door. Her blood froze. No, this couldn't be happening. She hadn't even had time to breathe, to think, to fight. Another loud bang. Miss Lane, this is your final notice. We have questions regarding your involvement in the Hale investigation. The room spun violently. Investigation. Her. Involved with Vincent? They were tying her to him, to his world, his enemies, his power. She backed away, shaking, her voice barely a whisper. I'm being destroyed for something I didn't even do. Her knees buckled again and she collapsed against the wall, swallowing a sob so deep it physically hurt. For the first time in her life, Harper Lane realized she had hit a place lower than rock bottom, because now someone wanted her buried under it. The pounding at Harper's door grew louder, rattling the hinges as if the DA's office intended to break the frame off entirely. She curled tighter against the wall, fingers digging into the carpet, breath trembling in shallow bursts. She couldn't run, couldn't hide, couldn't think. Another strike hit the door. "Miss Lane, this is a lawful inquiry. Open the door now." Her throat tightened. This was it. Her life, her mother, her career, her future, everything was about to be ripped away. Then silence. A sudden heavy silence so absolute it made her ears ring. Then a different voice spoke. Low. Controlled. Cold enough to freeze the air. "This floor is under private jurisdiction. You are trespassing." "Vincent?" Harper's head jerked up as the doorknob turned, not from the outside, but from the inside. He stepped in through her balcony door, the sliding glass still cracked open behind him. Wind swept in around him, like it had followed him up the building. His expression was carved from ice. Behind him, two of his men slipped into the apartment with silent precision, positioning themselves between Harper and the door, as if shielding a queen under siege. The DA investigator's voice stuttered. "Mr. Hale, this doesn't concern... It concerns me the moment you bang on her door without a warrant." Vincent's voice was deadly calm. "Which you don't have." A tense pause followed. "This is an active inquiry," the investigator insisted. "She is tied to an ongoing case involving..." "Lies," Vincent cut in, "fabricated by someone with power but no intelligence." Harper swallowed hard, tears still streaking her face. "Vincent, you shouldn't be here." He stepped toward her, kneeling so he was eye level. His voice softened, but only for her. "I told you," he murmured. "You don't face this alone." Before she could respond, he rose and approached the door. His tone sharpened into lethal authority. "You will leave this floor," Vincent ordered the investigator. "Now. Or I will file a legal injunction against your office for harassment. You can't threaten." "I don't threaten," he said. "I execute." The hallway fell silent, then footsteps retreating. The officials were leaving. Harper exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding, collapsing against the wall again. Vincent returned to her, his voice gentler now. "Pack a bag," he said. "You're coming with me." Her eyes widened. I can't just leave." "You can't stay," he replied. "Someone orchestrated this entire attack, and they're not finished." Harper whispered, broken. "Why protect me? I'm nobody." Vincent cupped her chin lightly, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Someone chose you as the weapon to destroy me," he said. "That makes you far from nobody." And for the first time, Harper saw something in his eyes she never expected. Concern, determination, a promise he hadn't yet spoken but fully intended to keep. Vincent drove Harper through the underground exit of the Aurelius Tower, the black SUV gliding into the night like a shadow that belonged to no city and no law. Harper sat beside him, wrapped in one of his coats, hands trembling in her lap. She wasn't sure if she was breathing. She wasn't sure she could. "You're safe now," Vincent said quietly, eyes fixed on the road. Safe. The word felt fragile, breakable, unreal. "Where are we going?" she whispered. "To the one place they won't expect," Vincent replied. "A private safe house. Only 3 people in the world know it exists." A beat passed. "And the person behind this?" Harper asked, her voice trembling. "Do you know who they are?" Vincent didn't answer right away. He turned down a deserted side street, parked the SUV beneath the shadow of an old brick overpass, and killed the engine. "Stay here," he instructed. Before Harper could respond, he stepped out, phone pressed to his ear. She watched him pace a few steps away, controlled, focused, his silhouette sharp under the streetlights. His voice was low, tense, clipped in a way she hadn't heard before. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Harper cracked the window. her heart racing as fragments of his conversation drifted in. Cross-reference the forged lease access logs from the night before the recording, her signature digitally lifted. Then Vincent's tone dropped, colder than ice. Run it again. She wouldn't risk exposing herself unless she was certain she couldn't be traced. Harper's breath caught. Who was she? Vincent returned to the SUV, opened the door, and sat beside her without starting the engine. For a moment, he just looked at her, really looked at her, his expression carved with something between fury and sorrow. "Harper," he said quietly, "I need you to listen to me, and I need you to stay calm." Her stomach twisted. "Vincent, what is it?" He inhaled slowly, bracing himself. "The person behind your setup, the cameras, the forged lease, the false accusations." His voice tightened. "It's someone I once trusted." Her pulse hammered. "Who?" Vincent's jaw clenched. "Cassandra Locke." Harper blinked. "The lawyer. Why would she?" "She wasn't always an attorney," Vincent cut in. 3 years ago, she was my fiancé's closest friend and the person who brokered the deal that got her killed." Harper's mouth fell open. "And now," Vincent continued, voice darkening, "she's using you to destroy me the same way she used Elena." A chill ran through Harper's bones. "But why me?" she asked, voice breaking. Vincent looked at her pain flickering in his gaze. "Because you walked into my life," he said softly. "And she knows exactly how to weaponize the things I care about." Harper's breath stopped. "She's not done, Harper. Cassandra won't stop until one of us is ruined." Harper stared at Vincent, the name Cassandra Locke echoing through her chest like a slow-moving avalanche. She'd heard whispers about the attorney, how she walked into courtrooms like she owned gravity, how powerful men folded under her smile, how scandals seemed to bloom in her shadow. But Harper had never imagined Cassandra even knew she existed. "Why me?" Harper whispered. "She doesn't even know who I am." "Yes," Vincent said softly. "She does. She's known since the night you moved into the building." A chill swept across Harper's skin. "But I only signed what the leasing agent gave me." "There was no leasing agent," Vincent interrupted. "The woman who handed you the keys doesn't work in the building. She works for Cassandra." Harper felt sick. "She planned this from the beginning?" Vincent nodded. "Every step. You moving in, the hidden cameras, the forged documents, the fake accusations. She needed someone believable, someone vulnerable, someone who would crumble under public pressure." "I'm not strong enough for this," Harper whispered, tears burning her eyes. Vincent's gaze held hers firmly. "You're stronger than you know. That's why Cassandra underestimated you." Before she could respond, his phone vibrated. He checked the screen. His expression darkened instantly. "It's my team. They found something." He put the call on speaker. "Sir," his operative said, voice urgent, "Cassandra Locke just issued a press statement. She claims Harper Lane is your mistress and a cooperating witness in a federal case against you." Harper's breath stopped. "She what?" Vincent snapped. "And there's more," the operative continued. Locke leaked an audio confession from Harper, another deep fake. "She's painting Harper as a whistleblower who turned on you." Harper's heart dropped. "She's turning us against each other." "No," Vincent said, voice steel. "She wants the feds, the DA, the media, and my enemies to collide at the same time. Chaos benefits her." Harper struggled to swallow. "What do we do?" Vincent exhaled, the decision forming behind his eyes like a storm ready to break. "We flip the board." Harper blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said, turning fully to her, "you're no longer the victim of Cassandra's plan." He leaned in closer. "You're going to be the bait." Harper's eyes widened. "Vincent, no, she wants to ruin me." "She already has," he said quietly. "Now we use it. We let her think you're running, scared, alone, and she'll reveal herself." Harper shook her head, fear trembling in her voice. "She's dangerous." "So am I," Vincent replied, "and she's about to remember that." Cassandra Locke always preferred elegance in her victories' spotlights, headlines, the slow unraveling of reputations. But tonight, she wanted something faster. She wanted Harper Lane broken before sunrise. Sitting in her glass-walled penthouse overlooking the East River, she smirked at the glowing screens around her. News anchors speculating, legal analysts dissecting Harper's role, social media erupting. Everything was falling into place. Then her security console beeped, a single alert. Restricted elevator access. Someone entering her private floor. Her smirk faded. Only 2 people had the code. Herself. And the man she had spent 3 years trying to destroy. Vincent Hale. She stood abruptly, heels clicking sharply on the marble as the elevator doors slid open across the room. But instead of Vincent, Harper stepped out, small, shaking, alone. Cassandra's confusion flickered into amusement. "Well," she drawled, "the little mouse crawled right into the trap." Harper swallowed hard, voice trembling on purpose. "Please stop this. You've taken everything from me. I don't want anything from Vincent. I just want my life back." Cassandra circled her with a predator's grace. "Sweet girl, you were never meant to have a life. You were a tool, a distraction. A very effective one, I admit." Harper's eyes filled with tears, real fear mixed with something Cassandra couldn't read. "Why?" Harper whispered. "Why do this to me?" "Because Vincent destroyed someone I cared about," Cassandra said coldly, "and now I'll destroy someone he cares about. Balance." Harper's breath trembled. "He doesn't care about me." "Oh, darling," Cassandra leaned closer. "He does now, and that makes you valuable." Harper glanced toward the floor-to-ceiling windows as if searching for escape. Cassandra followed her gaze and missed the small, blinking light beneath her own desk. A live transmission device, hidden, recording, streaming. Harper whispered a single sentence. "Then you should have made sure he wasn't listening." The penthouse lights cut out. A second later, backup lights flickered on revealing Vincent, standing behind Cassandra, flanked by 2 of his operatives, her face drained of color. Vincent's voice was lethal calm. "You just confessed to federal crimes on a live feed. The DA, the FBI, and half of Manhattan watched you admit to framing her." Cassandra spun toward Harper, realization hitting too late. "You, Harper, finally stood tall. You underestimated me." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Cassandra Locke's empire was collapsing, and Harper Lane was the one who pushed it off the cliff. The sirens grew louder until blue and red lights splashed across Cassandra Locke's glass penthouse like fractured lightning. She stood frozen, her arrogance finally stripped away, her empire collapsing second by second. Harper watched as federal agents stormed inside, placing Cassandra in handcuffs while she hissed empty threats that no longer carried weight. For the first time in days, Harper felt the crushing pressure on her chest begin to lift. Vincent stepped beside her. His voice was steady, grounded. "It's over." Harper exhaled shakily. "Is it? My job, my reputation, everything is ruined." Vincent shook his head. "Not anymore." As Cassandra was escorted out, one of Vincent's operatives handed him a tablet. A live news broadcast was playing. Breaking update, audio proves Cassandra Locke fabricated evidence in the Hale scandal. Nurse Harper Lane cleared of all allegations. Another headline scrolled beneath. Hospital issues public apology. Harper Lane is fully exonerated. Harper felt her knees weaken. They apologized? They had no choice, Vincent replied. Cassandra implicated herself. The DA dropped everything, they're now investigating her. Harper covered her mouth as relief flooded her so intensely she almost cried again. My mom, she'll see this. She'll know the truth. Vincent stepped closer, his voice low, and she'll know her daughter is stronger than anyone who tried to break her. Harper looked up at him, and for the first time, she allowed herself to really see him. Not the dangerous man, not the power, not the rumors. Just Vincent, a man who had stepped into her chaos and refused to let her drown. The agents filed out. Cassandra was gone. The building felt strangely quiet, as if the whole city had paused to let Harper breathe again. Vincent extended a hand. "Come with me. You shouldn't go home alone tonight." She hesitated only a moment before placing her hand in his. They rode down the elevator together, silence warm instead of heavy. When they reached the lobby, Vincent stopped, turning to face her fully. "Harper," he said softly, "I don't expect anything from you, but I need you to know I meant what I said on the rooftop. You changed things for me." Her cheeks warmed. "I don't know what comes next." He brushed a thumb gently across the back of her hand. "Whatever it is, you won't face it alone." For the first time since the nightmare began, Harper believed it. And when Vincent leaned in, not to claim her but to ask for a moment with his eyes, Harper met him halfway. The world outside was wild, loud, unpredictable. But this moment, this quiet, steady, healing moment, belonged only to them. So that's the end of our story, my friend. And if you're still here, still watching until this moment, it means something in Harper's journey touched you. Maybe quietly, maybe deeply, but it touched you. Maybe you saw a piece of yourself in her, misunderstood, pushed down, fighting battles no one else can see. But remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's what Harper discovered. Not because life got easier, but because she refused to let darkness decide who she was. And there's another stoic truth worth holding close. The obstacle is the way. Sometimes life pushes us into places we never asked for, only to reveal strength we didn't know we had, and people who show up when it matters most. If this story made you think, made you feel, or simply made you feel seen, then do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who might need a little strength tonight, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story we walk through together. You're not alone in your battles. I'm right here, telling these stories with you.